Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to apologize for the late start. It's that kind of weekend because we've got all kinds of weird things happening this weekend, and as such, it's a sort of microcosm of planet Earth right now, and maybe we should expect nothing less. The first thing I want to do is to introduce my friend, colleague, and partner, Kerry Cassidy, whose inspiration this conference was.
He's so English that he has to introduce me like you don't know who I am, right? But thank you, Bill. I appreciate the formality. As an American, let's bypass all that. No. So anyway, it's great because normally we fight over the mic. So this was Lewis's brilliant idea to give us each one, and that way, I'm not going to have a problem.
Now we've got two mics. It means we can both talk at the same time, right?
And that's not going to be a problem for me. Okay. But I have a lot of people to thank, and I just want to do that right offhand. We have Don Bogatz. I don't even know if I say his last name right, but he's in the back. He is actually our investor. Without him, this wouldn't be happening. He trusted enough that he was going to make his money back. And actually, he has, thanks to you. So that's... And thank you so much, all of you, for coming and for showing your support in this way. You're actually voting with your feet, which is a saying I like very much. And so here you are, and this is important because it's actually not about us. It's about the cause and what we're talking about and what we stand for here. And it's getting more serious every day. And so although we're going to have a lot of fun this weekend, it is a serious subject. And I do appreciate that you came here early in the morning, and you're going to be listening to a really fabulous first speaker, George Green. And as most of you know, and he's really going to set the stage for everything else that's going to happen today. I also want to thank, I want to thank Kira, and sorry Kira, I don't remember your last name. She organized.
Kelm.
Okay, and he keeps track of all the details, so he's basically my database. Because I tend to be the more artistic, intuitive type, and I'm out there in the ozone when I'm not down here physically. Anyway, so I want to thank Kira very much for organizing the database of the tickets. We had the person who was going to do that job fall through twice during the last few months. So she came on board at the very end, and she is just stellar and very organized. And you're probably sitting in your seats at this moment because of her. And all the volunteers. And we have over 20 volunteers who came forward, most of them in the very beginning. And as many of you will know, I was going to do this conference in June. And then we had some cancellations, and we had to actually close down that effort. But I decided to keep this thing alive. And as it happened, thanks in part to Wendy, who is handling, from the Granada Forum, who's way over there in the back. She's handling the filming and making of DVDs of the event. And she's also quite a conference giver in her own right. And the Granada Forum is something you can search on the web, and they have speakers and all kinds of things. And she's a very valuable person to know. So I encourage you to go up to her during the conference and just say hello and so on. But I want to thank her because she was one of the people who actually helped me set the date for this. And not to go on too long because we want to bring George up, but I do want to thank all the volunteers. We have over 20 volunteers. We have some behind-the-scenes security going on, so you guys are safe and secure. And we've got some highly gifted psychics and intuitives as part of this conference, and I'm sure in the audience as well. So we are actually clearing the space and and basically saying that all negative beings, if there are any visiting, watching, if you want to watch, fine, but just keep clear and let us do our thing here because we want to be at peace. And so anyway, we've got quite an interesting mix. We've got some whistleblowers that will be behind the scenes from time to time today. We have an announcement, and Bill, why don't you talk about Pete?
Okay. The first thing I want to say, actually, just before we start getting really serious, is thank you for making this conference break even. It was a risk for the investor. Now that we know that we're making a little tiny bit of money, the agents in the audience, if you go and produce your idea at the desk, we'll give you half price. We know you're here. It's all cool. It doesn't matter. Everyone's on this planet together as human beings, and we hope that you're going to have fun too. And I mean that very seriously. We hide out in the open. Everyone knows who we are. There's some very extraordinary people here this weekend, and
in walks Rich Dolan, right on that cue.
Right
so
okay.
Talking about extraordinary people, he's got a new book out. He'll be speaking here at the conference, and it's nice to see you this early in the morning. I know it's hard to fly from New York State, and the jet lag is intense.
Okay, now we already have a mystery and a bit of intrigue here because Dr. Pete Peterson has not arrived, and we cannot make contact with him. We do not know where he is, and we do not know whether he will be coming. So we have to be upfront about that. We last spoke to him 36 hours ago. He gave us every assurance that he would arrive late last night. He has not done so, but there could be all kinds of reasons for that. He's slated to speak at, I think, 11 o'clock this morning or late this morning. What we will do is we'll move the speaker slots around so that we don't have a hole in the program, and we'll continue to try and make contact with him, and assuming that he arrives today, then he will be on stage either late this afternoon or tomorrow, and see what we can do. We also have some substitute speakers that are going to be in the audience, and also we're going to try to pull Jordan Maxwell into this. He's introducing Bob Dean late this afternoon. We're going to ask him if we have a free hour to come up. He was initially supposed to be a speaker at this conference, believe it or not, but he was he's been quite careful about what he's doing. He gets phone calls, threats, this and that. So he's a very brave man, and we're very excited because he was here last night, just coming around, saying hello to people, and he'll be back today to introduce Bob Dean, so we can also get him on stage. I believe we're going to have Bill Deagle. If he's not here already, he will be here later. He's also an amazing speaker in his own right. Any of these people will be able to come on stage and substitute. So we had a message late last night from Gordon Novell asking for directions. He says he's going to roll up. We might as well tell you he's going to be here because he's the kind of guy who can't possibly hide. Unless he's wearing a latex mask, you'll be able to recognize him immediately.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen his video, then you really missed something, a treat, I have to say.
All right. So let's get off the stage here, and we'll bring George on in just a moment. One of the reasons why George is up first here is because we have a lot to either thank him for or blame him for, depending on your perspective. He's written a bunch, or what he has, let me start that sentence again. His fingers were on the keyboard when a number of books were written, and they are available at the back, I believe. We cannot recommend them too much. And one of the little idioms that he has introduced is the concept of the ground crew. It's a wonderful book called Messages for the Ground Crew, and he introduces the concept, which he will speak about in just a moment, that this planet is in trouble. And there are people here, this lifetime, here and now, who feel upon themselves a responsibility, a job, and a duty of care to do what they can do to assist this planet and the human race in a time of transition. And if it's possible to put the theme of this conference into a little nutshell, that's something close to what this is all about. And so we started talking about the ground crew, like a bunch of sort of spiritual stormtroopers who are in here to try and save a difficult situation, just like in